Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wedgwood on this beautiful, a little bit chilly Sunday morning, but we're all nice and warm in our cozy homes today. So we're just glad that you're here and that you've chosen to spend your morning with us. We will be talking this morning about finding inner peace, which I think is a topic that all of us really need in the turmoil we're going through today. But first, Liz will have our announcement.
Okay, good morning, everyone. We just have a couple of announcements and upcoming events to share with you this morning. Next Sunday, April 3rd, Rabbi Elias Ruthberg will be talking about the Passover, which is April 15th and 23rd, and he'll be talking to us about the importance of that holiday, and you don't want to miss it. And friendly reminder that we are having our regathering soon. We are so excited to be going back to the Enclave on May 1st. We will offer a Zoom option for folks who cannot attend in person, but we do ask that everyone who is attending, either online or in person, to please RSVP using the link in the chat box. The link is also in our newsletter and on our Facebook page and on our Instagram, so that we know how many people to expect for logistical purposes. So please RSVP. We would love to have you. Then on Sunday, April 23rd at 10 a.m., in preparation of our regathering on May 1st, we're going to have a spring cleaning day at the Enclave. We're going to be fixing up the flower boxes and putting up pictures and paintings and doing some spring cleaning. So if you'd like to join us on that day, please do. We're going to provide lunch. It'll be a great time of fellowship and getting the Enclave back in order. And on April 10th, which parade will you join with Melba Evans? And Melba will also be speaking the following weekend on April 17th, and she'll be speaking on Easter Hallelujah. And on April 24th, we have We Are Nature with Jeroen Amandira. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, I apologize. Who's a retired Buddhist nun from Colorado. In our community garden, we kicked off the spring session yesterday. And as you can see, Thomas had Barkley, who is our kind of community garden mascot. We did a lot of tilling and hoeing and taking care of the weeds and the winter growth. But our rosemary from last year is still thriving. We're so thrilled. But we just focused on getting the soil prepared yesterday. We're going to come back a few more times to get everything kind of tilled and ready to go. And then on Saturday, April 9th from 9:30 to 11, we're actually going to, hopefully the frost will be done by then. And we're going to actually start to plant the seedlings that were sprouted from the seeds that were donated. And we're going to actually put them in the soil. And hopefully in a few weeks after that, we'll have our first crops of the year. And if you are interested in joining us, we would love to have you. You don't have to have gardening experience. It's just a great time to be out in nature, get your hands in the soil, and do something for the community. And speaking of the community, so everything that we grow at the community garden goes to support the community food pantry. And in addition to any fresh items that are grown or donated, our biggest needs are what you see listed. A lot of shelf-stable food, like toiletries, things of that nature, are our biggest need, especially with inflation and everything going on in the world. Prices are going up, things are getting more expensive, and we've been seeing a pretty significant uptick in the number of families that we have been serving at the food pantry this year so far. So please consider donating either financially or donating any of the items listed. The need is great. And if you're interested in volunteering, you're welcome to come out. All volunteers must be at least 16 years old. And if you're under the age of 18, accompanied by an adult, but we would love to have you. Our next Social Justice Book Club meeting will be Thursday, April 7th at 7 p.m. We're reading Feminism is for Everybody by Bell Hooks. You don't need a copy of the book. We can give you a download, so just reach out to the church if you'd like to participate. And connect with us. We are on social media. We have a website, we have email and phone. So if you need to get in touch with us for whatever reason, please do so. We are here to help and answer any questions that you may have. In our newsletter, has a lot of great information. We try to keep the announcements relatively short and sweet, but our newsletter is definitely much more thorough. We share a lot of community events, McMinn events, Wedgwood events. We'll be happy to share any events that people suggest. If you want to RSVP to the regathering, the link is in the newsletter. And if you do not receive our newsletter but would like to, please reach out to the church and we'll add you to the list. And if you are, have any questions or comments or just need something from the church, please reach out to the staff at the phone number and email listed. Melba is the ministerial coordinator. I am the community outreach coordinator, and Ashanti is our music coordinator. And we also ask that you please find it in your hearts to continue to give to support the work that we do here at Wedgwood and in the community. And there are several different ways that you can do that. You can mail, you can Venmo, you can use PayPal, or you can use Zelle. Thank you so much.
Liz, did you have another announcement you wanted to make about Zoom?
Oh, yes. So we are so excited that we're going to be doing the regathering. And we really want to still be able to provide a hybrid format for folks. If you can't come in person, you can still actually participate on Zoom. And we have hired a technical director to do that. We're so thrilled. I don't know if folks remember Cameron Pruitt, who spoke a few weeks ago. His fiance, Xavier Boston, is a technical wizard and does this professionally. And he's going to be our new technical director for Sunday morning. So we're so thrilled.
Now that's very exciting. And it's just very exciting. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Really, it feels like we kept it in the family in a lot of ways.
Yes. And because some of you know he works regularly at the food pantry. So some of you also know Xavier from the food pantry. So
Yes.
We're moving ahead, and we'll have that, hopefully, the equipment. He is getting the equipment for us, knew exactly what we need to do this, and informed us and talked to us about it and went over everything. So we hopefully we should have that up and going on May 1st. In fact, he will be there on the April 23rd day that we are having in relation to Earth Day to get things cleaned up and ready to go. He will be there that day, so you will meet him. And we will need volunteers later on to assist. So if you're interested in that, you might want to come on the 23rd and meet him on that day too. So we're excited about that. Thank you so much, Liz. And as I said, today we're focusing on finding inner peace. And I'm so happy today that we have Ayya Sudhamma, I believe, with us today. And we are just looking forward to your leading us today in ways that we can find inner peace during these tumultuous times. But we will begin with our opening words, Spirit of All, written by Reverend Maureen Kilaram, a Unitarian Universalist minister, read by Donna Bill and Thomas Hanson.
Spirit of all, be with us in the ordinariness of our days.
May hope's light guard us and keep cynicism from our hearts.
May the energy of laughter build endurance for the dark times of our lives.
May creativity's vision grant the possibility of seeing old relationships with new eyes.
May the oil of healing keep us from anger's hardness or despair.
May the mantle of humility give courage to admit when we are wrong.
May compassion's loom weave in us the discipline to forgive.
May patience help us bear in mind that ours is not the only scale of time.
May the flame of justice be a beacon for the choices we must make.
May peace be ever in us and sustain our stressful days.
Spirit of all, be with us. Bring us peace.
Perfect peace is our prelude. Thank you. And now Connie Green Johnson will read our extravagant welcome.
Good morning. We are all welcome here. Welcome to a church that works for peace, justice, equality, and the care of Mother Earth. An extravagant welcome to you because of your gender identification, sexual orientation, ethnicity, economic situation, physical and mental challenges, doubting or believing, being depressed or full of joy. We are a community of curious and creative spiritual seekers, striving to learn and embody the way of Jesus and other spiritual leaders. Like Jesus, we focus on the plungent and the marginalized as we try to address the major issues of our day. One of the ways we seek to heal the world and ourselves is through sharing parts of our personal story. We are all welcome here.
We are all welcome here. And our words of wisdom today come from Wendell Berry's Peace of the Wild Things, read by Laura Bazan.
Good morning, everyone. This is the Peace of the Wild Things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
And am free. Thank you.
Yes.
Our celebrations and concerns today, we want to continue to lift up Connie, friend Dolores Finger, who is having COVID for the third time and having a very, very difficult time. And we just want to always lift her up for healing. And we want to remember Brad, Betsy's brother. Betsy had a rough night last night. I think they were at the ER. So she is sleeping this morning and will give us more information later, but we lift both of them up and that family as he recovers from cancer treatment. And Donna Carter was so excited yesterday about coming to the service this morning and was really, really looking forward to it. And then she had a bad night with medication, an allergic reaction. Donna, did you want to add anything else to that?
No, but she does seem to have it under control now, but she's exhausted because she was up so much last night. So continue to keep Donna in prayer. She said to tell everybody hello and that she misses you.
And we miss her. Are there other concerns or celebrations you would like to verbally express this morning?
Celebration. You remember Rowan DeZerko did a presentation on her science project?
Yes.
They got first prize.
In the national competition.
International.
International. Oh,
Way to go.
Oh, I'm so excited. He's 13, 14 years old and had a project, if you weren't here, on future cities that just, we spoke on Youth Sunday, and we were all just beyond amazed. It's Thomas's grandchild, and they were going to competition, national, I think, and now they've gone to international and won. We may have to have him back to present again because it was just really, really awesome. And well, that's so exciting. Let's clap again. I'm so happy when young people have that kind of success. That's wonderful. Any others? We want to remember Josh, and she has moved into her apartment and got new furniture, so Ashanti was celebrating that as well. Travis,
Hello.
Travis, hi.
Hi, I have a prayer request.
Okay.
I now work at Willow Ridge Memory Care. It's a dementia care community, and I would like a prayer request for all of my residents there. A lot of them are without any family support and hardly any financial support, so I would like a prayer for them.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Travis, and thank you for what you do for the residents there. Any others? Okay, we will have a time of silence. If you believe in prayer, use it as prayer time, meditation, or just time to self-reflect and relax, however your beliefs lead you. A few moments of silence. Amen. And now our moment for all ages. I was thinking as we are talking this morning about finding peace and dealing with stress, and I thought about children, and I guess I thought about the temper tantrums that I remember so well from, not, of course, not from me, but from my own children, and kind of a way that children deal with stress. It may not always be appropriate. So this morning we want us to talk a little bit about children and dealing with stress and anger and worry. And I thought about my son. Anybody know who this is?
The Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat. This was my son's best friend. And every once in a while, he still asks me, Mama, you still got Cat in the Hat? Yeah, I still got Cat in the Hat. Cat in the Hat had a few repairs done on him by my mother a few years back. I think his hat and some other things. But this was my son's best friend. And I think that when something was upsetting or times were tough, he would grab Cat in the Hat and hug Cat in the Hat. We all have kind of some best friends, whether it's live or whether it's somebody like Cat in the Hat. And don't you love this guy? This is my cat's best friend that he curls up with and sleeps with, the little monkey. So there's all kinds of things that we can hug and we can love. And, you know, I can talk to my Chester and he doesn't tell anybody my secrets. And I can just talk and talk away. And one time growing up, we had a collie. And I would just go out in the woods and sit with the collie and talk and talk and talk. That's one way of sharing things that are upsetting with other people, with a good friend, with mom or dad or grandma. animal that we can talk to. And if anybody's seen these, the stress relievers, the squeeze and fidget gadgets and all kinds of things. But there are lots of ways that children can relieve stress. My son used to also, as he got older, would go out and shoot basketball. And we had a basketball goal, and that would work off some of that stress and some of that energy. What are some other ways that you remember as a child, or you remember your children, or you might recommend children for relieving stress, anxiety, anger, worry that I haven't mentioned?
Get a paper route.
Yeah.
Deliver papers every day.
Yes.
Just being in nature,
Yes.
just having time to play and just outside.
Yes, being outside.
I've given my grandson, who is 11, art crafts, and he draws a lot. And if he has something that's on his mind, it's on that paper.
Yes. You know, when I was young, we kept diaries. And that was a way, which is basically a journal, to write things down. Nobody else sees them. Nobody else needs to read them, but it helps to do that. Any other things that you can think of?
I used to do special breathing, and sometimes I'll still do it. It's the 4-7-8 breathing. And it was fun to count. And by the time I would do that a few times as a kid, if I was stressed out or upset, I would be calm again.
Well, that's the next thing I was going to get to was the breathing. Show us, I was going to talk about the breathing and show it, but Liz, you share it with us, how you do that breathing.
Sure. So it's called 4-7-8 breathing. And you take a big deep breath for 4 seconds. You hold it for 7 seconds, and then you let it out slowly for 8 seconds. And you do that a few times.
Let's all try that.
Mm-hmm. So I can count if y'all want to do the breathing. Okay.
Yeah.
So deep breath for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now let it out slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Perfect. That was what I was leading into. So I'm glad you brought that up. Well, let's all remember some of those things. And we don't have our children with us this morning. Ashanti is in a workshop, so they're not here, and some others. But let's remember that. And those are things that are good for us as adults too. That's why we call this moment for all ages. Thank you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Ayya to everyone here. And I'm going to let you pronounce your name to make sure that this time it is pronounced correctly, because I know I do not do justice to it. But we are so happy that you are here with us again. She's been with us before. What did we say? It's been a year or 2 years? I think it's been 2 years maybe.
I have no sense of time anymore.
Too long. Much, much too long. So we welcome you this morning. So the time is yours.
Thank you. I go by Ayya Sudhamma. Ayya means like Reverend Lady. It's an honorific. I just want to add a thought about de-stressing, helping kids de-stress. I wonder if it might actually be helpful for them if you older folks learn what memes are and show an interest in the kids' memes. They have a very extremely droll sense of humor that I find hilarious. But it takes a minute to get it. And not to make them explain their memes too much, because that takes the fun out of it for them, I think, but to actually just be interested in and treat them as a real thing, as opposed to just some, nonsense. a friend of mine says that her child speaks entirely in meme. So, and something else I want to mention before I get started is how we'll find out. Is there more service at the end, or am I speaking for half an hour, or how does this work? Would you remind me, please?
Only thing we have at the ending is a very short song and a benediction.
Okay, so about would you give me about 3-minute warning before the end?
Okay, I'll wave at
I'll
you.
give
How's that?
keep an eye on the clock myself. Okay, very good. Something else I want to mention is I'm so delighted to see that you have Aruna Damadira coming. She is a good friend of mine, and I'm just very delighted to see that she's going to bless your congregation. And I hope and trust that a lot of people will be very interested in whatever she has to say. She's pretty deeply in touch. Okay, so I like to ask everyone to get comfortable, whatever that means for you. And just close the eyes and notice your entire body, head to toe. Feel it out from inside. Where are my hands? Where are my legs? Feel how this body is like a tiny magnet pulling down towards an enormous magnet, the earth beneath. Anytime there's any uncertainty or things are going too fast, you can always stop and feel how the earth has got this body. It's really holding it. And now check to see if there's any evidence that this body of yours might be breathing. Look for any evidence of breathing happening, whether obvious or very subtle. And some of these experiences could be labeled in breathing. Some could be labeled out breathing. I'm not going to control them. We're just going to hang out with this body as it is breathing. When the mind is very active, it can be hard to stay with something as soft and quiet as a breath. So really dedicate yourself to completely noticing without distraction, one in-breath, if you can. And if you can do that, see if you can follow an in-breath and an out-breath. Feel how this entire body is totally interested in this business of the breathing. It's really great if you can get to where you don't even see a difference between body and breathing. It's all one experience, body, breathing. One more thing. Check out whether there's anything pleasant in an in-breath. Anything pleasant about an in-breath. See if there's anything pleasant about an out-breath that may be different. And kind of lean into whatever is making that in-breath so pleasant, whatever makes the out-breath more pleasant. All right, now, in Buddhism, meditation is a tool for our spiritual development, bringing calm, bringing clarity. If you were physically on a merry-go-round, spinning and spinning, it would be very difficult to take in the details of your surroundings. But if you were holding still, it becomes possible. And when we sit, breathing, many ways to meditate, but this is one way the Buddha recommended. If we sit, noticing the breathing and allowing that pleasantness, there are a lot of benefits, a lot of discoveries to be made, a lot of troubles to let go. Notice how each in-breath has a bit of effort to it, and each breath, out-breath, is more of a letting go, a relaxation. Check it out. If you only made the effort, if you only breathed in and in and in, life would not be sustained. Life is sustained by making the effort, breathing in, and letting go, breathing out. Making effort, breathing in, letting go, breathing out. If we want more peace in our lives, we make the effort, we let go. We make the efforts and we let go. Let's say you had a high school kid or junior high school kid who is so afraid of getting bad grades that they're paralyzed and can't even try to do the work. On one occasion, I said to such a child, "Oh, well, you just do your work. The grade you get is none of your business. The teacher may have a good mood, the teacher may have a bad mood, the teacher may have some other thing in their minds, who knows? You do the work. The result is none of your business. Just do the work. What's right in front of you, that's all." In other words, kid, do the effort and let go, just like breathing. It's fundamental. Breathing in, making the effort, breathing out, letting go. All beautiful spiritual people I have ever met from any religion or non-religion or walk of life seems to have one thing in common: the letting go. They make effort and they let go. There's more to it than that. You're about to do gardening. If I were here giving a talk on how to harvest flowers, it'd be missing a lot. You folks are tilling the soil, preparing the soil. If we want peace in our lives, we prepare the soil. We don't just harvest results. It starts off with ethics. Living a harmless life is ethics. Obviously, not killing or causing others to be in fear for their safety and well-being. Not stealing, not harming others in our sexual behavior, not giving dishonesty when this world needs truth, staying sober, not risking harm from the dullness of mind caused by intoxication. Can't keep any harmlessness safely when there's a risk of intoxication. By giving harmlessness to the world, we create of ourselves a bit of a refuge for others. We also create a safety net around, or a sort of buffer of safety around ourselves, because when the world sees us acting in certain beautiful ways, it wants to give us back the same. I've asked kids to get this point across. If there was one kid in the class who kicked other kids, who kicked the staff, who kicked others, and you're just in a mood and you want to kick somebody, who's the first person you single out? Kid who kicks. When we are determined to be kind, compassionate, harmless in how we deal with the world. I'm not talking about being a pushover and a welcome mat. We need boundaries, but to be long-term, wisely harmless. Sometimes in the short term, it takes a little bit of firmness, even occasionally sharpness. But for the well-being of everyone, then the world wants to give that back to us. And so our own minds have a better environment for calm. We're creating calm, enhancing, enabling calm in others and in ourselves, simply by the practice of virtue, harmlessness. Now, I meet a lot of good people. People who aren't inherently good tend not to be terribly interested in Buddhism. Just doesn't seem to fit them very well. So I meet a lot of good people, and a common thread in a lot of people, especially Americans that I meet, I'm not even going to limit it, a lot of people, is not giving credit to themselves where it's due. For example, let's say you find a wallet with $1,000 inside, $10,000 inside. Who here would say, my good luck, and pocket the money? And who would make every effort to find the owner of the wallet? I am certain that almost all, if not all of you, would make that effort. Do you know that of yourself as an asset? As something admirable and beautiful about you? Because people, these good people I've met, tend to say, of course. No. The fact that you think that it's of course is part of your goodness. Rejoice in it. If you're not rejoicing in your goodness, you're missing a fundamental asset for your spiritual development. So I'm not, talking about, I'm the one who would return a wallet. Of course not. You're not going to go there. But when you recognize your goodness on every level, every aspect, the honesty that you manage to bring to your lives, people around you, the sobriety that you bring, the safety in people's relationships, non-adultery and so forth that you bring, and safety in your own love relationships that you bring. The safety that you give to other people in their stuff, their money, their possessions, because you're not going to be overwhelmed with envy and steal what they have. The safety that you give to their physical frames, that you're not going to kill or give fear, rise of fear of harm physically. Do you know that of yourself? Do you know that that goodness is there in you, and do you rejoice in it? If you do not rejoice in that goodness, if you push it away, well, of course, then it's sort of like, have you ever done a favor for somebody who took it as a matter of course that, sure, you did that favor to me. You helped them move, you gave them rides, you babysat their kids. And like, yeah, of course you did that. Now I need another favor. Now I need another favor. Now I need another favor. You get tired of it. Well, something inside us gets tired of it when we don't recognize our own goodness and doesn't feel encouraged to develop goodness, further goodness. So we need to develop the virtues and recognize them without criticizing anyone else for theirs. That's none of our business. So that is a huge part of tilling the soil for harvesting peace. Another part is developing skill with our mental states. Most of us are pretty helpless at our mental states, but there's actually a skill set we can develop for dwelling in beautiful states. I had a dream many years ago that I was picnicking at the beach, and a rogue wave came and swept over me and my picnic and everything, and I was very upset. And then I picnicked there again, and it happened again. And then finally I walked uphill into a little gentle little cliff overlooking the water, and it never got me again. Look at where we fall down in our unwholesome states and make effort that it doesn't happen. Prevent. When we have fallen into unwholesome states, make effort to overcome them. Meanwhile, develop wholesome mental states, and then make a day-to-day, moment-to-moment habit of them. Unwholesome states such as greed, hatred, delusion, agitation, worry, distress, jealousy, ill will, envy, selfishness, arrogance, pride, you know the whole list. If we know, we need to look at our own habits and find out, what do I fall down into, and do whatever it takes to prevent it happen. So I was saying, like, if you know yourself to be a jealous type and you see your partner's unprotected phone on the table, then you don't give in to the temptation to go and scroll and double check on them. Or if you have the greed problem, if you're a greed type, then you don't walk past the bakery that tempts you. And if you're a hateful type, don't sit there and go over in your mind what it is you don't like about this person or that person. So know for yourself, this is where I have a weakness. And this is, hang on a second, I'm going to adjust something here. Okay, there we go. So then know that for yourself, and then prevent that rigorously, vigorously, with everything you've got. Because if that's like quicksand for you, then you know you really need to prevent it. Somebody who's a hating type, like myself, might can afford a donut in a way that somebody who is the greed type had better avoid, and so forth. Then once you find yourself having fallen into an unwholesome state despite your best efforts, then it's really important to get out of it as soon as you can. Study yourself, see what it is that has worked for you in the past to get out of any unwholesome state. All the unwholesome states are closely linked. You fall into one, all the others are nearby. So any unwholesome state is a bit of a spiritual emergency to be addressed. But the ones that you know of yourself to be especially like quicksand, you've got to be utterly vigilant. Get out as quick as you can. And part of how we do that is applying wholesome states. What wholesome states can you access? There may be a wholesome state that's very easy for you, and you can cultivate that into a sort of a superpower, whether it's peace, patience, kindness, compassion. For me, it's compassion. Or loving kindness, gladness at what others have is the opposite of jealousy. Some people can look at a situation and say, you know, just let it go. It's not worth all the trouble. It's just not worth it. So that's equanimity. Some people have that very strongly. But if someone says that to a hater or a jealous one, they may be and they don't have, I'm sorry, someone who doesn't have equanimity as a power in their wholesome states, they'll look at you quizzically like, how on earth am I supposed to do that? But if you can find compassion for other beings, even the wrongdoers, then that can get you out of any unwholesome state. Or if you can find courage or whatever it is, any beautiful, wholesome state of peace, patience, kindness, serenity, even bliss, joy, uplift, surrender, letting go, mindfulness, any beautiful, wholesome state is an immediate rescue from any unwholesome state. The mind is only on one state at a split second at a time. Once we have achieved a beautiful state, then we make a moment-to-moment ongoing habit of this so that we are living in wholesome states. So this is helping the seedlings to grow. And then we take time apart to become calm and quiet. We have this background of virtue. We have this background of skill with beautiful mental states. Now we can truly safely sit, however long we have time to do, however long we want, without running into all kinds of negativity, because the mind is skilled, developing skill in these states. And then it can get quiet and quiet and quiet. And perhaps you have heard that saying of be still and know that I'm God. Now that's not a Buddhist saying, but we do get still and we find some quietude right in the very center. That's completely different from all the spin of everything going around in our world or in our minds. Absolutely quiet, very still. And we can live knowing that stillness. We can know that stillness is always there behind every action of the eye or impact in the eye or the ear or the nose or the tongue or the body or any movement of mind. There's still that quietude, like the silence between the notes or the silence between the thoughts. There's always quietude. Or if you ring a bell, hang on a second. The bell only rings because the sound waves happen and stop and happen and stop, and there's a quietude behind it. So this is a lot of my advice for finding a peace. But there's one more aspect to it. So what I mentioned to you was virtue and skill with mental states and stillness. There's two more aspects actually. To permanently stay with peace requires some stages of enlightenment. And that's a slightly different track from finding peace in the world. And the instructions are a little bit different. How you train yourself is a little bit different. It's like a parallel training between finding ability to continue on in this world and finding the peace of leaving this world. There's a lot of overlap in the training, but there's a point at which they diverge a bit. Because this is an ecumenical group, I'm going to go with the one that stays a little more in the world. And the thing I need to say for that, actually for the other side as well, is that remember what I mentioned about making effort and letting it go. One time I was walking from my mother's house about 1.5 miles to this place where I'm staying. I was going to meet with some people, some new supporters, to see if we might open up this place as a new little temple house, a little Vihara, a tiny monastery. And I was running late for this extremely important meeting back in 2013 about whether we would create a little house temple here, 1.5 miles from my elderly mother's home. And I happened to be walking right past the Mormon church, the Latter-day Saints church. And as I was going past it, I'm really trying to hurry. And this woman pops out of her car young woman comes up to me and goes, "Can I get you anything? Can I get you water? Can I get you anything?" She had felt called to do something for me. I'm like, "Oh, you're here for the church?" She's like, yeah, she's a member of this church. I'm like, could you give me a ride? So she drove me the last mile. Then we had a couple of minutes to sit and chat. And she had gone from some small town, was stopped here in Charlotte at that church. And then she was headed off to, I think, New Jersey or New York to do work for the church. And we talked about faith. And I told her my faith. She told me her faith, that she's sure it'll all work out because she, trusts in God. And I said, well, my faith is a little different. I said, I don't have faith that I'm going to get everything I want. And then I surprised her by saying, I don't have faith that I'm going to get everything I need. I have faith that I can be okay no matter what. And she said, that's the faith I want. Not in my religion, of course, but in her own. And we parted. Think about her every now and then. I'm sure she's done very well. So it's an extra little tipping point of surrender. Because a lot of times our surrender is a little bit conditional. I'll keep surrendering as long as I still approve of how this thing's going. You want peace? You want real peace? You want a deeper, lasting peace? Might need to make faith a little bit more resilient. I'm going to keep making effort. I'm going to keep letting go. Now I'm really going to let go. I'm going to make effort and I'm going to let go, and I'm really going to let go. And I think we'll find better results with that. And that is what I wanted to share with you today.
Thank you so very much. So beautiful, and just what I needed to hear, and I'm sure it's what most of us needed to hear. So we are so in gratitude to you for sharing that with us. Our closing today is going to be a little bit different. Instead of closing with a song, we're going to close with a dance. We talked this morning about nature as a place to find and help us with that inner peace. And sometimes nature makes us smile, and laughter is a part of finding that inner peace. So we are going to join some flamingos this morning in a dance. The beauty of nature. Every week we gather in this space to find peace. Every week words and music offer and celebrate peace with the hope of instilling it in us. Now, may we take the peace that we have found here today back out into the world with us. May we live at peace with our world and be at peace with ourselves. And may the love of truth guide us in our everyday. Be at peace. Amen.